Welcome everyone to this deep dive into the mystery and allure of the Illuminati. Yeah, the myth that captivates millions with its symbols, history, and that secretive vibe.
I'm really excited to explore this, especially the psychological pull behind these secret narratives.
Right, so one of the central ideas here is that people crave patterns and meaning, especially when
Exactly.
life feels unpredictable. When global crises or social unrest hit, the notion that a secret society like the Illuminati is pulling the strings offers a kind of, well, twisted comfort.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a way to impose order on chaos, right?
Absolutely. It's like when things are messy, believing there's an orchestrated design, even if it's malevolent, provides a narrative structure. You know, sort of
Yeah,
like having a hidden script to the world's madness.
that's interesting. So, what about the historical roots of this whole idea? Was there ever a real Illuminati?
Great point. There actually was a historical Illuminati founded in 776 in Bavaria. These were Enlightenment thinkers trying to champion reason and secular ideals. But they got banned by the Bavarian government in the 1780s, and, well, that's where the real group fizzled out.
Hmm.
The modern myth, however, is completely separate, a modern conspiracy fueled by reinterpretation and pop culture.
Right, so the myth persists long after its historical foundation disappeared. That shows the power of narrative and symbolism in our cultural psyche.
Exactly. And speaking of symbolism, there's a smorgasbord of symbols that people connect with the Illuminati. Let's break them down one by one, shall we?
Right. Sure, let's start with the all-seeing eye because that's probably the most famously associated symbol.
Sure thing. The all-seeing eye, basically an eye within a triangle, originally symbolized divine providence, like God's watching over us. But now, conspiracy theorists say it represents the elite's surveillance and control, almost like a, creepy big brother constantly peering in. Think about it, it's
True.
on the dollar bill too.
And then there's the pyramid with its 13 steps. I find that particularly fascinating. On one level, it relates to the original colonies, but then some push it as a symbol of hierarchical power, with the regular folks at the bottom.
Right, exactly. It's like, the pyramid seems innocent when you think of it simply as a monument, but add the idea of someone watching from the top via the all-seeing eye, and suddenly it morphs into an emblem of control.
Yeah. What about symbols like the goat's head, Baphomet? It's been thrown around a lot in discussions about dark rituals.
Oh, definitely. Baphomet, or the goat's head, originally represents balance, the duality of male and female, light and dark. But in conspiracy circles, it's seen as satanic, a sign of, occult rituals and shadowy practices.
Yep. And then you have these seemingly eclectic symbols like checkerboard floors and mirrors that talk about duality and hidden identities, right?
Yes, exactly. Checkerboard floors, often spotted in Masonic lodges and even in music video sets, symbolize the clash of opposites, good versus evil, or duality in the initiation process. Mirrors, on the other hand, play into the idea of dual personalities, especially when discussing things like MK Ultra and mind control experiments.
Okay, so pretty much each symbol carries a double-edged meaning, innocent origins on one hand, and sinister connotations on the other.
Exactly. And then we see symbols like monarch butterflies and masks floating around too. Monarch butterflies are linked to the alleged Project Monarch, which supposedly deals with mind control programming. Meanwhile, masks and even the one-eye pose often seen in celebrities are viewed as signals of secret society membership.
Certainly. It's amazing how repetition of these symbols across different cultural platforms, movies, music videos, even social media, so effortlessly blurs the lines between art and supposed reality.
Yep, and that repetitive exposure creates what we might call an echo chamber. When you see a motif repeatedly, your brain starts to go, ah, there's a connection, even if it's, well, just stylistic.
Absolutely. But here's a thought. Don't you think sometimes this over-analysis might, force connections that aren't really there? I mean, aren't we sometimes too quick to see patterns?
That's a fair challenge. Sometimes it's like um, a classic case of confirmation bias. People who already lean towards these theories are, well, primed to interpret any random symbol as evidence. It's like seeing shapes in clouds.
So it seems the narrative of the Illuminati is less about hard evidence and more about our deep-seated need to make sense of chaos.
Exactly. It's a modern myth, a way to cope with uncertainty by assigning a grand, if not nefarious, purpose to events around
Yape.
us, right?
And speaking of modern, the interplay with pop culture is just fascinating. Celebrities and even blockbuster films have contributed hugely by sprinkling these symbols everywhere.
Right on. Movies like Angels and Demons, music videos from big stars, and even the subtle styling decisions in fashion add fuel to the fire. It's like every sighting reinforces the myth, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Definitely. That creates a sort of feedback loop where once you believe, every design choice becomes evidence.
Exactly. That's where the challenge comes in. Separating intentional symbols from mere aesthetics. It's like saying, is that a secret code or just good design? Often, the answer can be both, but more critically, the intent behind it isn't always
True
sinister.
enough. Now, how do religious ideas tie into all of this? I know a lot of these theories incorporate like apocalyptic narratives.
Oh, for sure. Many interpret the Illuminati myth through their religious lenses. In Christianity, for example, narratives about the Antichrist or end times suddenly mesh with the idea of a concealed evil force controlling global events. Similar analogies pop up in other faiths, which see it as a manifestation of ultimate betrayal or a sign of spiritual decay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the myth serves as a modern morality tale or cautionary fable, warning against hidden evils.
Right, and that duality of good and evil is a theme as old as civilization itself. The Illuminati myth, in many ways, taps into those timeless
Absolutely.
narratives.
So, besides being a cool story, there's a real danger in this belief, isn't there?
Definitely. The biggest danger is that it distracts from addressing concrete issues like inequality, corruption, or climate change. Instead, a lot of energy gets funneled into chasing after well-woven, but ultimately unfounded conspiracy theories. It breeds distrust in real institutions like science and education.
Oh, yes. And that kind of, spread of distrust can push some people towards isolation or even radicalization.
Exactly. When you're caught up in these theories, you're less likely to look at the real, complex factors at work in society. It's a bit like focusing so hard on the shadows that you miss the broader
Right,
picture.
indeed. So, the takeaway here might be to embrace curiosity while still keeping a healthy skepticism, question everything, but also lean on solid evidence.
Absolutely. It's all about staying informed, critical, and not letting oneself be seduced by a neat narrative that oversimplifies our complex world.
Well, this has been a really thought-provoking discussion, breaking down those symbols, the psychology, and the impact on society. It makes you realize how easily our minds can be swayed by a compelling myth.
Yes, exactly. Embracing complexity rather than falling for the allure of oversimplified conspiracies is the key. Always reconcile your beliefs with evidence and reason.
Right, you got it. Perfect note to end on. Thanks for this engaging conversation. It's been enlightening to unpack the layers behind this modern myth.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining in this dialogue. And remember, keep questioning, stay curious, and look beyond the surface.
Until next time, keep seeking the truth with a critical mind.